The path. Every teacher starts as a student. Every creator starts as a consumer or a fan. But somewhere along the lines, there's a catalyst that propels the individual from one side of the ledger to the other. What is it? Or rather, who was it? Is there some seminal work that lit your creative spark and validated a concept that you had on the cutting room floor? Or better yet, is there a creator whose work affirmed your belief in your own abilities? Let me know, who was it that inspired you as a creator and put you on the path? Hello, cats and kittens. Olewa Jose, Yoroshku, and welcome to the creative corner of the Crisis Corner. I'm back at you today with a question, the creative question of the day. You see, in the creative corner, contrary to popular belief, it's not all about me. Although, deep in my heart, it really could be. However, the creative question of the day is, who put you on the path? Who put you on the path? What was it that lit your bud and had you wanting to write, to get that out of you, to get your writing out of you, to get you to tell your story? I'll start the conversation with my loves and what turned me on, what put me on the path. Before I even get into the influences, they're the two above all. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, their creative output first. The sheer volume of what they did is ridiculous. I mean, you have, there's a guy that did Batman, he made Batman, there's a guy that made Superman, and somebody else that made Wonder Woman. Try doing that 10, 15, 20 times. You got your X-Men, your Spider-Man, your Hulk, your Avengers, all of that stuff. I mean, it's like the Brill Building back in the day. You're just cranking out songs, or Motown back in the day. Probably less shady though. They hustled, they grinded, or whatever you want to say, and they put out work, and that work resonated with people on so many levels. There was a resonance to what they did and what they produced that lasted. It lasted, and then people built on top of what they did. X-Men weren't that successful out of the gate. Then you got a Claremont and a Burns come build on top of that and blew it up. That's a testimony to your work. Can people build on top of it and make it even better? So their collective output just blew my mind, and it really inspired me. Next to that, the Beatles. Because the Beatles are the Beatles. Life is a metaphor for the Beatles. I keep saying that and people think I'm joking, but I'm only half joking. If I write a group book, such as Intrepid, available today, when I think of group dynamics, when I think of group conflicts, when I think of group camaraderie, I'm thinking of the Beatles on some level. Subconsciously, they insinuate themselves into everything that I do. I'm a fan. I don't make any apologies to that. I'm just telling you that they are some intrinsic influence on everything that I do. So those are the two above all. I can start the list after them. So if you're talking about the actual list in no particular order, I start with The Dark Knight Returns, which is an influence on a lot of people. Me specifically, it was the storytelling, the visual storytelling. The way he laid out the panels, the colors that he used, the vibe that I got off of that book. It was ridiculous because I hadn't read anything like it before. I had read Miller stuff before that, the Daredevil stuff that he did. And he did I think it was just the Daredevil stuff that he did, but he took it to another level when he did The Dark Knight. And I guess it's equivalent to somebody who's blown away by Tarantino or Christopher Nolan stuff. It's just next level. and it really made me think on a different level in terms of storytelling. Then you got Peter David, Chris Claremont, their runs. Peter David did 12 years on the Hulk, Claremont 16 years on Uncanny X-Men, and that's just the grind. They had me running the back issue bins for 10 years, maybe 5 years to get all of that stuff. It's unheard of today. Nowadays, if you get somebody to do a 2 or 3 issue run, 2 or 3 year run, they patting them on the back and calling them whatever. 12 and 16 years on one book and doing other books besides it sometimes. It's just mind-boggling to me, because you can't just, it's not as if they say Claremont wrote something in 75 that he was going to tie up in 91. There's just a bunch of stories that you have to tell to keep it going. It's a grind, and that made me know that storytelling, especially in the comic industry, is a job, and you have to be on your job and you have to grind it out as long as you can tell those stories. And that made me respect the industry. John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four. His 5-year run is probably the biggest influence outside of the last person that I'm going to mention on me as a creator, because it was about imagination. It was about sci-fi, cosmic stuff, which absolutely was beautiful to me. It was about just, oh man, that guy was great. I mean, the Trial of Reed Richards alone, Byrne was a beast. He's when I'm writing Intrepid, that's what I'm shooting for. It's by way of a few other influences, but that's basically what I'm shooting for. I want to give somebody the same feeling that I got from reading his run on the Fantastic Four, basically. So there's that. Next would be the Amazing Spider-Man in the 80s, specifically the Stern Romita run, and also the DeFalco, Friends, and Rubenstein run. I'm especially got a shout out to DeFalco, Friends, and Rubenstein. That, you want to talk about good? That's what had me on the floor with stacks of comics, reading them jokers for like 8 hours. That's what I cut my teeth on. That's what got me to doing Lightning Rod. That's what got me to doing Brooklyn Blur. Just that joy. That gave me joy. The Hobgoblin stories, when he got his black suit, Puma, all of that stuff. It's just beautiful. It was just, that lit me up. That lit me up as a kid, as a consumer, and that's the kind of joy, again, that I want to give to somebody else. And then last, Ichiro Oda, One Piece, all of the above, ties everything up. Storytelling, consistency, art, just grind. 20 years weekly. Well, aside from breaks, but the man deserves his breaks. The group dynamic that he set up with the Straw Hat Pirates, the world building. My goodness, I mean, and again, the storytelling. I mean, he develops concepts that pay off over long story arcs. I mean, read One Piece. If you don't do anything else, if nothing else that I said makes sense to you, read One Piece. Or watch the anime. Do whatever you have to do, but get One Piece into your life. Do it now. Anyway, those are my influences. That's what turned me on. That's what put me on the path. It's your turn. You can. Yeah, I'm gonna post this on some of the groups that I'm with. You can comment in the group. You can cut a video. It makes no difference to me. I just want to hear from you. But comment on this. This is my YouTube channel, so comment, like, subscribe if you wish. Support us on Patreon, because we are churning out work. Intrepid, Lightning Rod, Brooklyn Blur, well, collectively, Shonen Double Feature, 4, Armageddon, and No One to Save. So support us if you like. And that's it. But let me know. Let me know who turned you on, who put you on the path. That's it for now. Until next time, in the Creative Corner, I'm out. Stay loose.